She tapped her wine glass with a butter knife. 3 sharp little clinks. And the whole table went quiet. I felt my stomach drop. My mother-in-law, Donna Hargrove, stood up at the head of her own dining room table, 40 guests' worth of silence pressing down on the room. And she looked directly at me with a smile I'd seen before. The kind that looks warm from a distance and feels like a blade up close. I thought, please, not tonight. Not in front of everyone. But Donna had been building to this moment for 8 years. And she wasn't stopping. What she didn't know, what nobody at that table knew, was that 2 weeks earlier, I had found something in a box in our garage that was about to change everything. I hadn't said a word about it yet. I was waiting. And honestly, after what she did that night, I'm glad I waited. My name is Brianna. I married Marcus Hargrove when I was 26. He was funny, kind, the type of man who actually listened when you talked. I fell fast and hard. His mother was a different story. Donna Hargrove is the kind of woman who has curated her entire life to look perfect from the outside. Immaculate house, elaborate dinner parties, Christmas cards with professional family portraits every single year. She said, "I love you, sweetie," with a smile so wide it looked painted on. But there was a difference between the women Donna considered her family and the women who married into it. I learned that difference fast. Marcus had an older brother, Derek. Derek's wife was Shelby. Richmond girl, right schools, right friends, moved in circles Donna already recognized. Donna called Shelby my daughter. I watched her say it once at a 4th of July cookout, arm around Shelby's shoulders, glowing like she'd won something. She never once called me her daughter. What she called me in 8 years of Sundays and holidays and family dinners was Marcus's wife. Not Brianna, not her daughter-in-law, just Marcus's wife. Like I was a +1 he'd been bringing around too long to uninvite. The comments were constant, small enough that if I repeated them to someone outside the family, I'd sound paranoid. But anyone who's had a Donna in their life knows exactly what I'm talking about. One Thanksgiving, I brought my grandmother's sweet potato casserole. Brown sugar, pecans, a recipe I'd been making since I was 12. I set it on the counter and Donna looked at it, tilted her head and said, "Oh, how sweet. Shelby made one too, but hers has the little marshmallows. Gerald just loves the marshmallows." She put Shelby's in the center of the table. She didn't try mine. Another time, this one still burns, Marcus and I announced I was pregnant with our second child. Everyone was thrilled. Donna got up, walked around the table and hugged Marcus. Then she looked at me and said, "Make sure you're taking your vitamins this time." This time, like my first pregnancy, had been a failure I needed to correct. Marcus would apologize in the car on the way home. He always apologized in the car. He never said anything in the moment. I heard, "She doesn't mean it like that," so many times I started keeping count. But the insults were only half of it. The other half was the erasure. I was not on the Hargrove family group chat. I found out it existed when Marcus's phone buzzed at dinner, and I saw the thread name. He added me. 3 days later, I was quietly removed. Nobody said a word. When Donna's mother passed, she left behind a small jewelry collection. Nothing worth a fortune, but meaningful. A pearl necklace, a charm bracelet her mother had worn every single day. That Christmas, Donna gave Shelby the pearl necklace and the charm bracelet. I got a candle set from Bath and Body Works. I unwrapped it and kept my face completely still. I said, "Oh, how pretty. Thank you, Donna." I cried in the bathroom later, not because I needed the jewelry, because she had thought about it. She had deliberately chosen to give the meaningful pieces to Shelby and something forgettable to me. That was a message, and the message was, "You don't belong here." I tried talking to Marcus about it. Really talking. About 2 years in, I finally said plainly, "Your mother treats me differently than she treats Shelby, and it hurts. I need you to say something to her." He did. Donna called me the next week with an apology so flat, it sounded like she was reading from a script. 3 weeks later, she told Shelby's mother at a birthday party, with me standing 6 feet away, that Marcus had married someone who just doesn't quite fit our family dynamic. She thought I was out of earshot. I wasn't. I stayed. I smiled. I helped clean up. Because that's what I did for 8 years. I stayed. I smiled. I helped clean up. But something was starting to crack inside me. Slow and quiet, like a fracture forming in concrete. You don't notice it at first. Then one day, the whole thing gives way. About 2 weeks before Gerald's 65th birthday dinner, I was cleaning out our garage alone on a Saturday afternoon. Marcus was at baseball practice with the kids. I was working through boxes we'd moved from our old apartment 3 years ago and never opened. I found one near the back wall I didn't recognize, sealed with old packing tape, no label. I almost tossed it into the donate pile. Something made me open it. Inside were papers. Financial documents, some old, some recent enough that the dates made my stomach go cold. A property deed. 11 acres in Albemarle County, Virginia. In Gerald's name only. Not Donna's, just Gerald's. Bank statements for a savings account. Also in Gerald's name, going back to 2004. The balance was significant. Not a small rainy day fund. And then there was the letter. Handwritten on Gerald's personal stationery, addressed to Marcus and Derek, dated 14 months ago. I read it twice sitting on the cold garage floor. Gerald explained that he had built this account and this property quietly, over 20 years, as a separate provision outside the family estate, which Donna controlled entirely. He wrote that he had watched his wife exclude and diminish the women his sons loved for too long, and had said too little. This was his way of making sure Marcus and Derek had something that no one could take from them or from the families they'd built. He used the word families, plural. He included my name, not Marcus's wife, Brianna. By the time I finished reading, my hands were shaking. I taped the box back up. I put it in the trunk of my car. And I started trying to figure out what to do. I didn't have to figure it out for long. Gerald's party was a Saturday evening in October. Donna had been planning it for months. Custom cake, rented linens, a deep-cleaned house, the whole production. The moment we walked in, something felt off. Donna hugged the kids, kissed Marcus on the cheek, and looked at me with an expression I hadn't seen before. Not the usual polite chill. Something hotter. I filed it away and followed everyone inside. For the first 45 minutes, the evening went the way those evenings always went. Donna announced that Shelby had been accepted onto the Junior League board. Everyone congratulated Shelby. Donna moved on. She refilled my wine glass without making eye contact. She mentioned that Derek and Shelby were thinking about a vacation home in the mountains. She told Marcus's aunt that Shelby had really become the backbone of this family's next generation. Marcus's jaw tightened. He was feeling it too. Gerald asked me about my students. I teach 4th grade. And I started telling him about a little boy named Caleb, who had just learned to read at grade level for the first time. Gerald leaned in, genuinely interested. Donna cut across the table. "Gerald, honey, did Derek tell you about the deal he just closed? Derek, tell him." Caleb's story died. Gerald turned toward Derek. I looked down at my plate. Marcus put his hand on my knee under the table. Then I noticed Donna's sister Viv watching me from across the table with an expression that looked almost like an apology. Like someone who knows something bad is coming and can't figure out how to warn you. That's when Donna stood up and tapped her glass. "I just want to take a moment on my husband Gerald's birthday to remind everyone at this table what real family looks like." She smiled at the room, let the silence settle. I look at Derek and Shelby, and I see everything we could have hoped for. They show up. They're invested. They're building something beautiful. People nodded, smiled. "And then," she said, and her voice got a little sharper, "there are people at this table who have made things more complicated." The room shifted. Everyone was very carefully not looking at me, which meant everyone was looking at me. Marcus had gone completely still. Donna smoothed her blazer. She looked directly at me and said, slowly and clearly, "Brianna, I have tried for 8 years to make you feel like part of this family. But I think it's time we were honest. You have never really tried to be a Hargrove. You've kept one foot out the door from day one, and Marcus deserves someone who is truly committed to this family." The room went dead silent. I felt my throat close. I felt the tears push up hard, but I did not let them fall. Not in front of her. Not after 8 years of being made to feel like nothing. I looked at her and said very quietly, "Okay, Donna, I hear you." That Gerald had put his fork down. He looked like he wanted to disappear. Marcus said, "Mom, stop. Marcus, someone has to say what this family has been whispering." "Nobody has been whispering that," Viv said from across the table. Her voice was hard and flat. Donna looked at her sister sharply. Marcus pushed his chair back. "We're leaving!" "Marcus! Kids, get your jackets!" I stood up. I kept my face still. I looked at Gerald. Sweet, stricken Gerald, who looked like he was in physical pain. And I said, "Happy birthday, Gerald. I love you." And I walked out of that dining room. We were in the car, driving in silence, before Marcus finally said, "I am so sorry. I know. I should have stopped her years ago." "Yes, you should have." A few minutes of quiet. Then I said, "Marcus, I need to show you something when we get home." He looked at me. "There's a box in my trunk. I found it in the garage 2 weeks ago. It's about your dad. And I think it might be about your mom too." His hands tightened on the wheel. "I've been trying to figure out how to tell you," I said. "I think tonight just made the decision for me." We put the kids to bed. We sat at the kitchen table. I opened the box. Marcus went through everything slowly. The property deed, the bank statements, the letter. He read the letter twice without saying a word. Then he put it down and sat back and let out a long breath. "He was protecting you," I said, "from her." Marcus didn't answer right away. When he looked up, his eyes were red. "Why didn't you tell me when you found it?" "Because I was trying to understand it first, and because I didn't want to blow everything up before I knew what it meant." He nodded. "Marcus, does your mother know this account exists?" He looked at me. "Because if she does," I said, "that might be exactly why she came after me tonight." 3 days later, Marcus drove to his parents' house on a Tuesday morning while Donna was at book club. He and Gerald sat in the backyard and talked. Gerald confirmed it. Donna had found a bank statement 3 months ago and confronted him. He'd brushed it off. She hadn't believed him. She'd been digging ever since, and had apparently convinced herself that I was somehow behind it, that I had manipulated Gerald, that I had been running some kind of con on her family. That's what the speech had really been. Not just years of pent-up dislike. She was scared. She was trying to build a narrative before the truth could get out. She picked the wrong night to do it. 2 weeks after the birthday dinner, Gerald called a family meeting. Not Donna's kind. No curated guest list. No good china. Just Marcus, Derek, me and Gerald at the kitchen table on a Sunday afternoon. Gerald walked them through everything. The account, the land, the letter. The attorney he'd seen 6 months ago to make sure the structure was airtight and Donna couldn't touch it. Donna came home in the middle of it. She walked through the door, read the room in about 2 seconds, and froze in the doorway. Gerald looked at her, calm, quiet, and he said 5 words. "Donna, sit down. It's time." She sat. Gerald told her, plainly, without cruelty, without raising his voice, that he had watched her treat Brianna as less than for 8 years and said far too little. That what she had done at the birthday dinner was wrong. That Marcus and Derek deserved to know the full picture of their family's finances, which he should have been clearer about years ago. And Donna tried to redirect, tried to make it about me going through their things. She found a box in her own garage. Gerald said, "Brianna has done nothing wrong. She never has. I should have said so much sooner and much louder." The room was quiet. Then Derek said, "Mom, you need to apologize to Brianna right now." Donna looked at her son like he'd slapped her. "Derek?" "Now, Mom." She apologized. It wasn't perfect. It was stiff and tearful and full of qualifiers. But she said the words. In 8 years, she had never once said the words. I told her I accepted it. I meant it. Not for her sake, for mine. Marcus and I stayed in the marriage. I want to be clear about that, but things changed. We went to couples therapy, not because of Donna, but because of what her behavior had revealed about ours, about the years Marcus had watched and stayed quiet, about the way I'd swallowed everything instead of drawing hard lines. We did the real work, the uncomfortable kind. Donna and I are not close now. I don't think we ever will be. But we have something more honest, a respectful distance with real boundaries on both sides. She doesn't run the family gatherings the same way anymore. Gerald does more of the organizing now. Things are quieter, smaller, and a whole lot more real. About 4 months after the dinner at Easter, Viv pulled me aside. She said she'd been watching what Donna was doing for years and had never spoken up, and that she was ashamed of it. Then she handed me a small wrapped box. Inside was the charm bracelet, Ruth's charm bracelet, the one Donna had given to Shelby at Christmas years ago. Shelby had quietly given it back to Viv, said she'd always felt wrong having it. I held that bracelet in my hands and thought about Ruth, the few times I'd met her, the way she always used my name, the way she asked me real questions like I was someone worth knowing. I put it on my wrist. I haven't taken it off since. To anyone watching this who knows exactly what this feels like, who has spent years being Marcus's wife, in a room full of people who look right through you. You are not invisible, even when they treat you like you are. You don't need to blow everything up to be believed. You don't need to be cruel to be heard. Sometimes the truth just needs time. And sometimes someone else has been quietly watching, quietly building something, quietly writing a letter to protect you, even before they found the courage to say it out loud. Gerald saw me. He'd been seeing me for years. I spent 8 years trying to earn my place at that table. I didn't need to earn it. I'd had it all along. I just needed the night everything cracked open to finally make it visible.